Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Dan Saunders. I am your host today for the Sellzone and Kaspien driving internal and external traffic to your Amazon listings. We're just going to wait just a little while just for a few more people to join us. But in that time as well, we're just going to go around and just do a quick who's who, where we are. While you're on the line, please feel free to drop us a note as to where you are. Anywhere you are, just give us a shout, whether you're in Brazil, Tokyo, anywhere, just give us a shout out. We'd be more than happy to give you a shout out to the first person that's out there as well. Just to let you all know, just for participating in this this webinar, you have now got a 90-day free access trial to the Sellzone tool. So there'll be a link on that a little bit later on today, but we'll go into that in a little bit more detail as well. I have talked very, very quickly because I've been on the road all day and I have not spoken to a human being for the better part of 48 hours. So I am really, really happy to be here with you all today, and especially glad to be here with some of our guests, very good friends of mine, and some really, really interesting experts into the different fields. For those of us are new to Amazon selling, or even to those of us that are old hat with it as well, we'll recognize some of the names here. And there's some of the channels that we're going to talk about today are really, really interesting, and I can't wait to get into a little bit more detail with them all there. Just while we're waiting as well, should we do a bit of a round table? Madison, do you just want to go first just to say a quick hi, who you are and where you're from?
Sure, yes. Hello. My name is Madison, and I work at Kaspien as our partner facing social media manager here in Spokane, Washington. I'm here to discuss social media and influencer marketing and how you can direct your traffic to Amazon.
Absolutely amazing. And like I said, I've had a sneak peek at the deck before this. If your minds are not blown by some of the stuff we've done before, I don't know if there's anything else we can teach you. This is it's absolutely incredible, some of the stuff we're going to go through today. And Madison's presentations, Robin's presentation, and Kobe's presentations are going to be really useful for you all in terms of joining that together. Speaking of which, Kobe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Colby Alman. I'm the head of e-commerce for ViscoSoft, which is out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Before Amazon, I was doing SEO agency for a very long time. So today I'll be speaking about how to use that SEO background and get some Google links and some traffic from off Amazon to your listings.
And last but by no means least, Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Marketplace Blueprint. We're an Amazon agency, so we do listing optimization and managing accounts and ads on Amazon. And I'm going to be talking specifically about driving traffic on Amazon. So what you need to do within the platform to help make sure you're capturing as much of that wonderful Amazon traffic as possible.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you all for being with us here today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to go through this all with us as well. I'm probably the least interesting person on the call. My name is Dan Saunders. I started out selling on Amazon circa 2012. We were just talking about how easy life was back then. For anyone else that was in that margins at those times, welcome to the future. Life's just got a lot harder for us all. So let's just give a quick shout out to where we are. Someone that I know very well doesn't live in Istanbul. One of our friends here at Sellzone, Eugene, who's currently in Istanbul. We have also got Dell, who's in Georgia. We have got Coffee Sympathy, which you're going to have to give me a break for at the moment in time. You see this Stein right here? This is literally just full of coffee. In the UK, it's 6, so I'm going to be up for pretty much most of the night on that one. And who else have we got? We've got Water Sentinel in California. Thank you very much for everyone joining us today. Any questions you've got, just fire them over. I will make sure that I'll get through them all today. If we don't, I'll make sure that we get to some of our speakers to get through from those for us as well. Right, let me share my screen to show you what we've got for you today. If anyone thinks I'm just looking away from that way, because it's got it on the bigger screen, and I want to see what everyone else is happening today. So let's have a look here today. So what we're going to be talking about is driving internal and external traffic to your Amazon listings. Now, we were literally just talking about this before everyone came online. Long gone are the days when you could keyword stuff and get away with it in Google or Amazon. They were so much easier. way back when. But these are some of the different techniques that we're all doing now to drive our Amazon listings. We're going to be talking about external traffic, internal traffic, and all these different external factors that a lot of people don't know about, and I am quite keen to get out into the open for us all as well. So if I could just move us on to the next slide. He says, having lost the button for that. We've done the introductions, but as we mentioned, Robin's going to be talking to us about internal traffic, Kobe external in terms of Google. Now, there's some quite interesting topics around there as well, but I won't spoil it. I will let Kobe go through it in the world. And Madison as well is talking about external traffic. It's some really, really interesting thoughts that we're going to go through today, and I can't wait to take them all through with you as well. So just to give you a bit of background as to who Sellzone and Kaspien are, Sellzone is an Amazon tool that's powered by SEMrush. Those of us that are in the Google SEO business all know SEMrush very, very well. Sellzone is an Amazon-specific tool, and it's one of the world's leading marketers as a SaaS platform. It's created by SEMrush as designers specifically for Amazon. So there's no sort of half guesses or half measures. All the data in there we've got is for Amazon as well. And the thing that separates them from everybody else is the data behind it. As we all know, Amazon is very, very cagey with what data it has. So we've got to be as prepared as we can possibly be as well. Kaspien, obviously I could just read the bullet points from there. I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence. Madison, do you want to just give us a quick once over as to what Kaspien's goals are and who you guys are and who you help?
Absolutely. Kaspien is a leading e-commerce company that optimizes and grows brands across today's leading marketplaces such as Amazon, Walmart, and Target. From marketing to logistics, Kaspien provides everything a brand needs so that they can focus on what they want.
And this is why I didn't want to read the slides, because that's so much more useful than anything we've got there. Just from our side of things as well, I'm going to hand over now to Robin. What we are going to do is we're going to go through each presentation first, but any questions you've got at any time for anybody, if you just put the question into the chat box and who it's related to, you never know either if it's a question you think specifically for Robin, you never know, Kobe or Madison might have some other insights in there that we can add as well. We will be doing this right at the end as well. So fire any questions away during the presentation, but then after that, we will make sure that we get around to them as well. On that note, I'm going to shut up and hand you to the expert. Robin, if you'd just like to take us away.
All right. I am super excited. I love getting to geek out about Amazon and internal stuff. So, when you think about internal traffic on Amazon, it can be kind of easy for us to think like, oh, I have that handled. I see a lot of when I'm auditing accounts or I'm even auditing sometimes other agency work, like sometimes there's fundamental pieces that got missed. And a lot of times, especially with private label sellers, when we look at this, how they approach their keywords, they're starting here with like, if you look at the slide, step 3, and they're really looking at that reverse ASIN search as their first step. When you do that, you miss out on a lot of really great data that's in that brainstorm list, and potentially those could be some of your best terms if your competitors haven't capitalized on those. So sometimes if you're struggling with your organic traffic, it's good to just go back to the basics. And it's also important to remember, like we were talking about the wild west days where we could put 5 things and we could keyword stuff and it was great. Those days are long gone. And so now organic optimization and the paid work hand in hand. And, unless you have a lot of brand search volume, you're really going to need to use both in order to capture all of the available market share for your potential products. So when we're starting, we want to make sure we're starting with the basics and making sure we're really looking at the brainstorming that list, expanding those keywords from there, then using the reverse ASIN search, then using that frequency counter to make sure we're getting the most relevant keywords and unlocking those individual keywords that open up the largest number of longer keyword phrases that are relevant for our product. Now, when we're doing keyword research, we want to remember that people find products primarily through search. So unless you're driving that external traffic, then, be ranking organically and having ads for the keywords that are important for your product are going to be the main ways that people find your products on Amazon. So it's all about maximizing your access to the doors that have the most customers that are most likely to buy your product. Now, the things I'm going to talk today are, they can be kind of basic, but these are the things that we're using with large and small brands to help them get really great results. We had a $40 million company that has been in brick and mortar for a long time. That was across all their channels. We were able to do 118% year over year with just kind of these basic things. And then we're about to do about another 100% growth as we head into this next year. So it is something you can generate really strong results. Even if your brand already has a strong presence, you can make these changes and make a dramatic difference. Now, when we're doing the keyword research, it's important to kind of look at both that reverse ASIN search and the original. And with that reverse ASIN search, there can be a lot of really good data that you can get. And we want to make sure that we're gathering all of those keywords and making sure we're getting all of the different use types and ways that our customer might recommend our product. And we can also look at kind of, one of the things I like about Sellzone is we can kind of look at that average position and we can look at kind of not only the volume, but also the SERP feature. So you can see, all right, this one has editorial or this one has Amazon choice. So it kind of helps you to identify where those SERPs are and how competitive they could potentially be. Now, if you do a lot of reverse ASIN searching and you find that you're getting a lot of erroneous results. When we're training people new on our account, when we're checking their original keyword research, usually it's because they've tried to do reverse ASIN search for keywords that while they're relevant to the product that they're selling, they have multiple keyword products. So let's say if I was selling this Star Wars shirt and then I'm also selling a Jar Jar Binks shirt, and then I put when I'm doing the keyword research, I put this shirt, the Jar Jar Binks shirt, and maybe something from one of the sequels, a character from that, maybe Rey. They're going to share both shirts and they're the profile of a T-shirt, and they're going to share the profile of a Star Wars shirt, but there are going to be different keywords that may not apply. So somebody who's searching for Jar Jar Binks is probably not going to buy this original, the regular logo. So you want to make sure you're getting clean keyword profiles. So if you're getting a lot of keywords that don't make sense, it could be like something like maybe you're trying to sell this shirt and you did a Star Wars mug. And so now you're getting keywords that are associated with mugs. So really think about how your product probably does have multiple profiles that are going to be used to kind of create kind of this component of overall keywords that you want to utilize. So really be thinking about that. And when you're using that reverse ASIN search, one thing I like about Sellzone is I can filter by match type. And sometimes that helps me really identify, okay, which of these keywords are really relevant and which ones maybe are kind of outside of that profile a little bit. And then they also have related keywords. And what they do is they take kind of the SERPs that overlap, for that keyword. And what they're going to do is they're going to find related. You will find some misspellings. You will find some similar words. But sometimes you can get some words that maybe hadn't been picked up other places. And that can really help, if you can find a keyword that has high volume and low competition, of course, that's always what we're looking for on the organic side. And pretty much any reverse ASIN search tool, you're going to be able to look at things like, search volume. You can look at, sorting by search terms. These things are all really important. And then as you get that big list of all the keywords, whether it's, as you're doing that keyword research, we want to remember that not all keywords are equal. We want to avoid those irrelevant words. We want to focus on the buyer intent and what is really going to motivate our customer. And the reason for that is because Amazon has really been limiting the number of characters that we have. So before the goal was get as many keywords as you can. Doesn't matter how far, reach to the edge of the galaxy. That's fine, because we want to try to get an index for as many keyword phrases as possible. Now we have a finite limit. We have character limits. In some categories, we're seeing bullet limits. We're seeing the back-end search limits. So now there is a finite number of words that you're able to use. And so we want to make sure that we're focusing on those most relevant words. And also CPCs have driven up significantly. And I don't know if the other folks have seen it, but as Facebook has had some trouble, I've seen CPCs drive up even more. So your ad budget isn't going to stretch the same way that it did 2 years ago. So you need to really narrow the number of products maybe, and the number of keywords that you're really focusing on trying to get those results for in order to get better overall results. So this means with this finite amount of words, we need to really be strategic about what keywords we want to put in and how we want to put them into our listing. And we do that by really looking at the psychographics of our customer. What are the keywords that are really going to motivate them? If I'm selling a really technical product, maybe I'm going to focus on more of the technical keywords. If I'm looking more at a product where it's maybe the office manager or the secretary that's buying this technical product, I might use more layman terms. So understand who's buying your customer, who are the primary causes, and use that to help you triage the correct words for your products. Now, a lot of times what I see is also people start with the title, then the bullets, and then they go to the back-end search terms. You're missing all of these wonderful opportunities in the structured data where we have, genre, flower, like colors and fabric types. Some of those keywords could potentially go in there. And then that gives you an additional space for those keywords on the back-end search terms. We try to limit the back-end search terms to those things that just really did not fit in the copy when we were trying to really optimize for the customer, or for things that maybe we don't want to advertise, alternate use types that maybe we don't want to really promote on the front facing side of our listing. So this is the step that I also see a lot of people miss is we create our listings and we say, okay, this is what we think is going to motivate our sellers. As we run those ads, we want to check the ad data and say, all right, I really thought people were going to come in under this main keyword, but people are not converting. I'm getting a lot of clicks, but I'm not getting a lot of sales. I can see that from my ads. So I'm going to rewrite my keywords, or maybe a bullet in my keywords, or in my bullet in my listing, to really maximize on this other keyword that does convert really well and that I have seen from my advertising go really well. And don't be afraid to A/B test different versions of your bullets. Sellzone has a A/B testing tool that works really great. Just one word of warning: we need to be especially careful right now around pesticides, antimicrobial, and then eco-friendly is a new one. So watch those buzzwords that set Amazon on fire, and make sure that you don't get your listing suspended. But A/B testing is a great way to really hone in and give yourself that, especially when you're in a competitive category, if you're a private label brand, doing that A/B testing, you're always looking for that incremental advantage, right, in your advertising. Doing that A/B testing helps you get that incremental improvement that can help, or not only help your ad performance, but also your organic sales. And we want to maximize the number of keywords, but we also want to have these two conflicting goals. We have to balance making sure that we have the most number of keywords, but also that we're making our copy really compelling that customers want to buy our product. We can't forget that this is not just an indexing opportunity. It's also our sales page. And so we have to make sure we're balancing those two goals to make sure we get the best results for our products. I wrote an article for Sellzone a while back ago about why is my listing not selling? So it kind of goes through these 7 points. So if you're struggling, you feel like you've done all this, go through this article, and it might help you find some of those pieces that maybe you might have missed as you were optimizing your listing to help make sure that you have everything that you need here. Now, Amazon prioritizes conversion. We know that, right? So we want to make sure that we're helping Amazon see that our product is going to convert really well to help with the organic. And like we were talking about before the webinar started, now really their advertising is a table stake. You do need to have some advertising. And so let's talk about how that works, because everybody's seen the Amazon flywheel, have a great experience, have lower prices, and it gets customers to come back in expanding methods. But, they don't really outline how we do that as technicians on their platform. And so what we're really going to do is we're going to start with that listing optimization. We're going to use clippable coupons or some other friction reducer, something that helps incite the customer to purchase with that advertising. That causes those natural conversions, which helps us get reviews. Of course, use that request a review button to make sure you're maximizing your number of ratings. Use Vine, rest in peace, early reviewer program. We miss you. And then go back and take the results from your data, take the results from what you've seen that has happened, and then touch up your listing from there. And sometimes you see that what you thought was pretty accurate, or maybe you have a lot of stakeholders that getting that listing approval is hard. So maybe you take a little bit longer data set, but it is good to kind of incrementally improve those listings as you go. when we're doing this advertising, we're doing this flywheel, we really want to look at incentivizing purchases. And so we can use clippable coupons. I love clippable coupons. They're my BFFs. They're great because they show up in the ads, they show up in the SERPs, and they're really easy for the customer to redeem. I know a lot of people like the BOGOs, and they can be really good for increasing overall order value. But I find as a customer, I have a really hard time figuring out, as an Amazon expert, where I put the code in sometimes. So I think it's a little more difficult, especially if you have an older demographic. Again, thinking about those psychographics. Lightning deals have gotten a little bit better as far as the timing has been expanded on some things. But remember, you don't get to pick the time and date. And so it could be when your primary audience is sleeping. And, if you have, something that's not super exciting, if you sell white underwear, lightning deal is not going to get people excited about white underwear. If you have a Roomba, then yeah, that lightning deal is going to totally get some purchases because it's something people need that excuse to purchase. So think about your product and your customer behavior as you're trying to set up those deals and determine where that budget should go. Should it go towards a Black Friday lightning deal or something along those lines? And we want to think as we're starting to talk about ads and how we're going to use that advertising in Amazon to drive sales. We talk about brand awareness, and we talk about performance campaigns, and performance campaigns are really important, but we want to think beyond just short-term ROAS. Sometimes it's good to have a keyword ranking campaign where we're focusing on trying to drive a specific keyword for a product. So we did this for a product. I changed the name of the product here and the search term to kind of protect the name of the client here. But there was a keyword like, one of their main keywords they were indexing for. We started advertising and the ROAS dropped on that campaign from 12.9 to $4 to $5. And then it rebounded as it had that first organic position for 3 weeks. Then we started to pull back that advertising and the ROAS returned to where pretty close to where it was before, but it doubled the sales on that same ad spend. So it really did make a big difference and that did stick. So these keyword ranking campaigns can really be powerful and helping you to generate more sales and give you the opportunity to pull back those ads as you have some success. And of course, you need to monitor that position. And sometimes you kind of do need to do some repair on that ranking. But once you have that position, it's easier to hold on, especially if you have a lot of competitors who are not aggressively advertising. So remember, for this to work, the sales need to be generated for the specific search term, and that means that sponsored products is going to be the primary campaign vehicle because sponsored brands were primarily driving to custom pages or store pages, which isn't going to give us kind of that super URL benefit without breaking the rules and using that super URL. Now, as you're doing this, you might say, well, the keywords that I really need to target are really expensive. They're outside of my budget. Sometimes what we'll do in that case is we're going to start with a longer keyword phrase. We're going to focus on keyword ranking for that longer phrase that includes the shorter, more expensive phrase in it. That will naturally help the rankings as we for that primary keyword phrase as we move along. But it's also going to give us kind of a little bit of a foothold where we can show some results, we can show some data, and then move on to that next one. So, and then as you're looking and as you're trying to decide if this is what you're going to do, remember that sometimes a really relevant keyword is going to be overly broad and not going to bring in the customers that you really need for your product. So, if we're looking at this example, like a PBX office phone system or phone are both relevant to that product, but the people who are typing in just phone into that search box, they're likely not going to be looking for a PBX office phone system for 16 phones, right? So we want to make sure we're thinking about what are our customers typing and using that to help kind of allocate our budget correctly. And if you find you're just not getting anywhere, especially if you have a large product mix, sometimes one of the most important things to do is to say, I'm going to consciously not advertise some of these products, and I'm going to focus the bigger ad budget on a smaller number of products so I can have more results. And then you can kind of, as you pull back on some of the ads for that primary product, you can reallocate that ad budget to other products. Think about margin, think about sell-through. And then right now during like this crazy logistical $30,000 container world, think about what are your current stock levels. Pull back on those ads as necessary to make sure that you're not advertising for something that you're going to run out of stock on, keep that margin and let it sell out organically. And then you'll have a smaller gap as you go back to restock as far as falling down the rankings. So there's going to be a little bit more strategy this year in making sure that you're balancing your advertising and your sales quota goals with also thinking proactively about stockouts and how you want to prevent that to avoid problems next year for you. So with that, I'm always super excited to hear about what Colby has to say. So I'm kind of anxious to get to hear what Colby says. So that's all I have for me. So I'm excited to hear what everybody else has.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm not sure where Robin's just disappeared to, but I'm sure she will be back very shortly. We have all just got used to the whole screen share button being right next to the Leave Studio button. So forgive us the technical faults. Just while Kobe's loading up, just to give a few more shout outs where we are. So we've got New York, we've got Natalia from Russia, we've got Katie from Spokane, and Kimberly from Spokane. We've got apologize. I am going to absolutely decimate your name here. I am so awful with it. I do apologize. We're British, and I will say sorry even if it's not my fault. Rugby from Dubai, and we are into a full list of questions. Kobe, are you ready to go? Sorry, mate, you're just on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah, all right, man. It's cool. We're all learning here.
So today I'm going to go into something kind of new that I've never done before as an Amazon seller, and that is focusing on driving external traffic to our Amazon listings. And you might ask, why do I want to drive external traffic? It's because when you're selling on Amazon, basically when you hit the point that you have no more users that you can go after, you have to go off Amazon to find those users outside of the Amazon ecosystem. So Google's a very good way to do it because one, it's the largest search engine, and two, a lot of the people and a lot of the users start their search for a product on Google itself. So the benefits of driving external traffic is it provides that reach off the Amazon platform. And think of it like this. They're going to look at the affiliate pages about the product and see, what the reviews are and what people reviewing the products are actually saying about it. And one of the biggest benefits to them going from Google to Amazon to purchase your product is that the Amazon algorithm really loves off Amazon conversions. We don't know how much, but it's one of the ranking signals that they do use to help improve how you're ranking against your competitors. And using Sellzone and the traffic insights, it also gives you kind of a sense in what your competitors are doing. Are they going after affiliates? Are they going after bloggers? What types of links are they going after? And the biggest thing here is choosing your competitors right. You have to evaluate your brand competitor size and their rankings in comparison to your listing. Essentially, you don't want to go after the big fish immediately if they're not comparable to you. You want to go after somebody that's very similar to your listings that you're, exchanging rankings with, just to see what they're doing. And one thing I like to do is if a new brand shows up on page one for a keyword that I'm going after, is to look at how they're ranking up so quickly and kind of evaluating what tactics they're using, and especially what off Amazon tactics they're using. How are they driving this traffic, these conversions, and how are they getting up there? And with that, I try to avoid the bad actors, and we all in every category know who they are because they're using black hat techniques to get to that page one for the specific ranking. So you don't want to, use the tactics that they're using to rank your product, because chances are you're going to get banned from the Amazon platform, and we really do not want that for your listing. So we're going to go into using Sellzone's traffic insight tools, which I found very useful in the past few months to evaluating what my competitors are doing and driving that off Amazon Google traffic. Like any Amazon seller or conference that you've been to, we're going to use the world of garlic presses as my example here. And so I loaded up one of the ASINs for the top garlic press ranking keywords or ranking ASINs to the Sellzone traffic insight tool. And what this does is it spits out the Amazon organic, Google organic referrals, shopping ads, and display ads of your competitors. With shopping and display, it has to be connected to your own advertising account. So it's not going to show your competitors, but we're going to focus on the top 3 here in terms of how we're going to go about using this data. So with Sellzone, you can see the reach by channel, which is the Amazon, Google, and referrals, and kind of evaluate, how are they ranking organically on Amazon, Google, and what kind of referring domains they're getting. And Sellzone makes it very easy for you to take an overarching look at exactly what's going on with every ASIN that you're ranking. And one of the cool things about it is you can plug in multiple ASINs and kind of see, how your competitor is doing against you, or how 2 competitors are doing against each other. So it's very useful in comparison and kind of seeing how you line up against your competitors. So we're going to dig into the world of garlic presses, and what we're looking at here is Amazon organic, kind of what Sellzone spits us out, and we can kind of see the volume that they're ranking for and the keywords that they're ranking for in terms of volume, the average position for that keyword, their traffic, and kind of the competition that's going on there, and that's just within Amazon. Next is the Google listings, or the Google traffic, and here we can see the volume of the keywords that they're ranking for on Google, kind of their max position, the traffic, and the devices that it ranks for. So we really want to dig into that and determine what they're going after, what keywords they're going after, and really what they're ranking for. And we're going to dig into what these data points mean a little later on. And probably the most important that I like to look at is the referring domains and what is linking to their ASIN on Google. And we can plug that in and kind of see the authority score, the backlinks, how many links they've gained, how many they've lost, and the competition of that that page that they're ranking on Google, and what's linking to them. So after we've kind of done our research, here's what we're going to look at after we plug the ASIN into Sellzone. We're going to look at the reach, which is the number of potential users coming from the provided domain. The authority score is the gauge of the domain's quality in terms of SEO. Is kind of how much juice they have to be ranking for specific keywords as a domain. You want a high authority score domain if you want to rank for specific high volume keywords. Same goes for backlinks and SEO. Think of it like that. The number of backlinks is the number of backlinks that are linking to that ASIN, new and lost, we've already went over, and the competition is the number of products that also have backlinks from that domain. So to go more into it, for the reach, I look for kind of an in-between before higher and lower. The higher that the reach is, it means that you're less likely to get a response if you hit up that site to put your ASIN and link to them from it. It's just because it's probably one of the BuzzFeeds or New York Times or something like that, where you're more than likely not going to get an editor willing to make that change. The lower traffic, usually it's not worth your time to go after because it means it's not ranking well. And you really don't want to waste your time with it. When you go for something in the middle that has, a decent authority score and a decent reach, you're more than likely to find somebody or a blogger or an editor that's authentic that you can really reach out to and start a conversation with about including your product into their content. Of course, authority score, the higher it is, the more likely it is to be ranking for the keyword that you're going after. And lower means it could be new. It could, get a better authority score later on in the future. But for right now, we want to focus on the higher authority scores or something in between, just so that we know with the time that we're putting in to get this link, it's at least going to rank for some keywords, whether it be the main keyword or something long tail. At least you're going to get some traffic and some conversions to your ASIN from that keyword. And backlinks, if it has a huge number of backlinks, it usually means an affiliate site. It's just really hard to get in contact with some of the affiliate marketers because a lot of their content is set it and forget it, which means that they're less likely to go in and edit it, or they've either scraped the Amazon listings and have an automated tool that ranks it or includes the content. And lower means that it's usually a mom and pop blogger, and they're going to be less likely to link. But there are some tips and tricks to really cozy up to them and maybe get a link to your ASIN from them. The new and lost links gives an insight into your competitors and kind of the direction they're heading. Looking at their lost links as well can show you, any advantageous avenues that you can go after for domains that may have taken down their ASIN, and maybe you can get in on that domain as well. And competition, the higher competition usually means an affiliate as well, and lower competition usually means a small site, mom and pop blogger, specifically about one specific direction in the industry. So, for example, maybe it's a blog that's specifically about garlic presses, and we want to link to that. So we're going to dig into the world of garlic presses, and after you put in the ASIN, you can kind of go into the backlinks that it spits out and kind of dig through them and find a backlink that really looks useful to you, has a decent authority score. And here I found an easy coconut shrimp recipe from Thai-inspired dinner ideas. And it was a really good article, a really useful article. And at the bottom, we can see the ASIN of our competitor, the premium garlic press with soft, easy squeeze handle. And so we know that this article is linking to our competitor here. So we would really want to focus on getting this link and kind of contacting the editor in terms of changing their mind about changing it out to a better garlic press, maybe your garlic press, for example. And so you found a link. Now what do? You're going to read the site, you're going to do your research, and then you're going to outreach. If you've ever done SEO, it's the same as content marketing or link building. You really want to get in and understand the writer of the content and the site that it's on. So in terms of reading the site, I want to know, is this an individual? Is it a mom and pop blogger, or is it a company? Know that the individual and the mom and pop blogs are more than likely to respond than a company is. Is the author listed? If yes, then you have more opportunities to personalize your outreach. Do they have a Twitter account? Are they on LinkedIn? Does their mom and pop blog have a Facebook page? There's a lot of ways that you can kind of get your name in front of that content editor or the writer of the article to get them familiar with their name. You don't want to spam them or hit them up every day. You just want to get your name out there so they recognize it. Is it an affiliate or a niche site? Affiliates are definitely worried about one thing, and that's money, so that they're making money off of the products that they're listing on their site. It doesn't mean that they're not likely to change out the ASIN of your competitor, but there are some things that you can do to kind of improve your chances of that happening. And then you want to look at how often is it updated. And the more frequently they update the article, the higher is usually ranking, which means they get traffic to it. So the top 20 garlic presses of 2019, they edited it, become the top garlic presses of 2020, same for 2021. That tells you that it ranks well, and they're likely making some money and conversions off of the affiliate ASINs that they're providing there. So if you can get in on that, it's pretty much evergreen content because you can count on them updating it frequently. So your research, you want to find the site and the contact information. You can do it yourself. You can have somebody at your company do it for you. But again, you want to begin to familiarize yourself with their public social media, their interests, kind of start researching them and become their friends without them knowing. But you want to know how to talk to them. On the page, important, are there any broken links? Often there will be some links that are either to ASINs that don't exist anymore, or they have stocked out. And if we'll go into that later, if you really want to make your competition mad, you look for these stocked out ASINs and kind of take advantage of those. And you also want to think about how your product is differentiated between your competitors. And often your product has a better solution to a problem. And you really want to go and tell the editor or the writer of that content, how your product addresses it in a better way and how their content will be improved by including your ASIN in their content. So there's a couple of ways that you can do the outreach, and this is basically how we do outreach for link building and SEO. There's the flattering approach. When you send your email to them, you want to make it truly known that that you have read their content and you really appreciate what they're doing. And an example of you reading their content really goes a long way here. At the end, you ask, if they don't mind to include your product, and you can do that sometimes by boasting and let them know, how you think it can improve their content. And you offer them information about your product quality and the testing that you do and the differentiators between your competitors and your product. And if they need samples of your product, be willing to send it to them so that they can actually review it. And if they're not willing to change out your competitors, maybe they're planning on writing some future articles. And if they have, a sample of your product, they'll think first about you when they start writing their content. And if it's affiliate, they're all about the money. So if you have more fancier product that happens to be higher in price and is ranking better for the keywords, then that affiliate might see that as they might get, dollar signs in their eyes and be more willing to change out your competitors to your product, because in the end, it means that they're making more money off of having your ASIN on their list than your competitors. But the most important thing about boasting and, telling the authors that your product is the best is to not overdo it. You don't want to, turn them off by bragging about your product. You really want to ease your way in there. And this is a really important one. If they have broken links, say that you found the broken link on their page and offer to help them by providing your ASIN, and just let them know your ASIN fits in perfectly with that content, and give them, the link and say all you have to do is insert it, and you're good to go. Most of the time, people appreciate the fact that you did notice the broken link, and they will actually plug it into their content so that it doesn't include information that the user can't get to. And this is the biggest thing. We talked about the help here. And if your competitor goes out of stock, which is happening a lot with the supply chain and demand that's going on right now, plug in their ASIN and see where they're getting their backlinks from. And chances are, if they're out of stock and they're on an affiliate page, you can say, we have stock, and the affiliate marketer is going to notice that they're losing money. So they're more likely to include your ASIN there because you do have stock. And the more you remain in stock, the more likely your product is to stay on there. So you can really snipe and get some links that way to your ASIN, and the conversion is through the roof if you can get it to ranking number 1 or number 2 on their list or on their content. And if they have a list of, best garlic presses, getting in those top 2 position is really great at getting those Google links to converting. And if we have any questions, be good to go.
That's grand. Thank you very much, Kobe. I really appreciate that. Some really useful advice there. And we've got quite a lot of questions that we will be getting to very, very shortly. But last but very not least, Madison, are you ready to go to share some of your insights?
I think so, yes. Hello. So I first wanted to talk about what inbound marketing is. Now, Google Ads and the other topics we discussed today are versions of inbound marketing, and so is social media and influencer marketing. It's really the new and better way to market. Inbound marketing is attracting people to us. It's very customer centric, versus outbound marketing is more interruptive and usually is in the form of a commercial or a billboard, and we know we're being sold to in these instances and usually try and avoid them. HubSpot, one of the leading experts in inbound marketing, defines inbound marketing as a shift in the way you do business and a philosophy based on helping people. So very human and relationship focused, and asking, is this adding value to my customer? Since buyers are much more knowledgeable about products and their competitions, brands must be very strategic with their approach. So more and more customers are looking to shop with brands that align with their values and have some sort of emotional positive connection with them. Let's dive into social media and how you can and should drive traffic to your Amazon listings. One of the key elements I use for social campaigns is the Amazon Attribution program. I'll be referencing it in my slides, so I'll explain it briefly. The Amazon Attribution program is a beta program that launched in 2017, and it's a free measurement solution that gives marketers insight into how their non-Amazon marketing channels are performing. You can create unique links. They're trackable, so you can insert them into any of your campaigns. And when the user clicks the link, Amazon will track what the action the user took, and this can be, sales or just clicks. And these metrics make it possible to determine if a particular campaign is performing and allocate your budget accordingly. One thing I did want to mention is that the attribution program is a last click model, which means that the sales only recorded when someone clicks the link and purchases within the same session, which we know that's not how the typical customer shops. Generally, they'll view the product and add it to their cart and possibly buy it at a later time. That's why it's also important to review attribution data in conjunction with overall Amazon performance. Let's talk about how to strategically implement the links within your social media strategy. When it comes to a brand determining whether to have social media or not, we have to look at where people spend their time and money. According to a study from TechJury, Americans spend on average 5.5 hours a day on their phones, and 2.5 of those are dedicated to social media. When you think of this, it really does make sense to compete for their time on social platforms. So what makes a successful social media strategy? First, you want to start off with a budget, find your target market, share your why, and collaborate. So we'll discuss these a little bit more. The first step is to set out a monthly budget and align that with your goals. If you're just starting out, I always suggest starting with a conservative budget and increasing as you see results. A survey done by Kroll showed that almost half of marketers reported that they used social media for 2 years before they saw an impact in sales. So it will take time to grow, and you'll have to have a lot of patience. In my experience, brands who are willing to commit a standard amount of marketing spend, anywhere from 4 to 8% of total revenue, would start to grow within 6 to 18 months, depending on the product. The next step is to get to know your audience. Who are they? What do they like? And align your content to that. You can find this by analyzing data you currently have from your website or social insights. If you don't have that information, there are other methods such as social listening, where you monitor keywords and hashtags about your brand or your competitors. Once you find out more about your audience, you can research the platforms they're on. I usually recommend posting on both Instagram and Facebook to start, but consider other platforms that might reach your target audience better. The next step is to keep your brand's why in mind. Post content and interact in ways that allows your audience to connect with you. Your why, when approached with the inbound philosophy, can establish trust and show your value to the market. Why are you in business? What makes you different? Once you have that, you can align your content to tell the story for you. This will help your audience create a deeper connection with you and be more likely to return. So how do you create or choose the right content? For Instagram, content is mainly shared through imagery and videos, whereas Facebook is more multifaceted. You can create events or groups. One thing that both of these platforms have in common is that you need to be consistent. Post often, respond to messages and comments as soon as possible to start building those relationships. For content, I rely heavily on influencers since it's created by someone who believes in the product and has an eye for marketing and making it look very lifelike and real. I always recommend directing to Amazon, definitely using those attribution links. Customers are 89% more likely to buy from Amazon than a website. Here's a case study we did for one of our brands, Combat Wipes. They came to us and we were able to develop a low-cost strategy using the attribution program to track our efforts and expand our reach in the right direction. The results since managing their account, we've been able to increase over 400% in followers and engagement on Instagram, and overall increase channel sales by 20% using mainly inbound marketing alone. Next, let's talk about influencers. Influencers are the new word of mouth marketing. When you're directing your social media via influencers, you want to make sure your pages are professional enough to be able to convert a potential shopper. So if you're selling workout equipment and there are only pictures of birds on your page, you're not likely to convert any viewers. There are two types of influencer campaigns, product exchange and paid campaigns. Depending on your budget and goals, you can work to find people who are interested in free product in exchange for a post or review, or find someone who you pay a cash incentive to create more professional content. A study in 2018, so a little bit older, from the Digital Marketing Institute found that 49% of customers purchase products based off of customer recommendations, and 86% of women use social media for purchasing advice. And I'm sure that's gone up since that study. So how do you find the right influencer fit? If you're just starting out, you can find influencers using hashtags or even doing a Google search. Before you hire, make sure you're aligned on all your details and goals of the collaboration before starting. I like to let them know the main goal is to drive traffic to Amazon and give them that trackable link to use in their bio. I use a platform called Activate where you can post a campaign for exactly who and what you're looking for and have people apply to you. You can also get additional insight onto potential hires. As you can see in the screenshot, here's some demographics and audience credibility. That's always good to look out for. Once your brand has a growing organic social presence, you can start advertising. Targeted ads on social are one of the most effective marketing methods to availing your business. They're also complex and can be intimidating to start, but the main method is find your goal, your target market, and track your performance. I recommend using lifestyle content. This will come across more authentic and relatable, and the audience will be more likely to show interest if they don't feel like they're being advertised to. When navigating paid ads, I like to use Facebook's learning tools. They give you everything you need to know about running successful ads. You'll want to be knowledgeable on how to manage these since you're investing time and money. And if you don't have that time, I recommend going to marketing experts who can manage it for you. Amazon posts. So with all of your effort that you've put into your social media, I recommend sharing it on Amazon. Amazon posts are another beta program that delivers your content to relevant shoppers. Posts are a great way to maintain a brand presence on Amazon. There's no limit to how often you post, and Amazon recommends that you post as frequently as you do on social, and you can reuse a lot of the same content. So it only takes a few minutes, and it has the potential to reach thousands of customers. To conclude, we want to market as we would want to be marketed to. Be human, periodically direct traffic to Amazon, and use the attribution program to analyze your efforts. A brand will flourish if using that inbound marketing approach holistically. And Kaspien and Sellzone have prepared some special offers for our viewers. We put the links in the description on YouTube. Thanks, guys.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Madison. And exactly as you said, there are some amazing offers that are currently going live. The links are just in the chat box as we speak. Feel free to take advantage of those. I know I certainly will be, especially going forward on the Kaspien side of things as well. So we have got nearly 3 pages of questions to get through. So I am going to have to rapid fire through these because I appreciate we've only got 5 minutes left. And I did say we will get through as many questions as possible. So let's go with question way back when for Robin from Sarah. Sarah would like to know, do you think it's possible to get to the top position of Amazon search without running Amazon ads? I think, Robin, we pretty much went into that, but if there's anything you'd like to elaborate or go further on.
Well, if you're selling left-handed underwater basket weaving kits for double amputees, then yes, you can. So if you are selling something so kind of like niche-y that there's not a lot of other competitors, then yes, you can 100% rank without advertising. If you are selling garlic press, no. That's not possible. So you have to look at the competitiveness. And so if you're coming and you're like, I have no advertising budget, but I want to come to Amazon, then you need to really flush out that keyword research, see if you can find something. And, you know, especially for new to category products, this is especially difficult because, you know, it's hard to do indoctrination and education on Amazon because it's so bottom of funnel. So unless your product is very niche-y or you have a lot of brand volume. So Lego doesn't need any ads to sell their products because people like my son already know what's going to launch. They're waiting for it to go so they can buy it. So if you have a rabid fan base, so if you've done a really good job in developing that fan base, then that's also a way. So it's not impossible, but it's improbable unless you have some other external force.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Normally, I would ask our other guests to elaborate on that, but I'm again very, very, very conscious of time. And what I'm going to try and do, it's not going to be in the order that we had the questions, but I want to make sure everyone gets time for questions. So, Kobe, I'm just going to go for one for you right now. I apologize. The dog is just about to go to bed and is the baby, so you are going to hear her in the background.
That's fine.
How many products at a time would you recommend to compare within the Traffic Insights tool? And this is from Sarah.
Typically, it depends on what I'm looking to do. If I'm looking to compare myself against a competitor, of course, I want to have 2 or more. But I typically like to focus on one competitor at a time. That way, I can direct all my attention to specific content and specific domains. It's a lot to take in at one time, and you really want to go and have the best outreach possible and the most personalized outreach possible to go after the best links that you can get on Google. So it depends on your focus and what you're looking to do, but always keep your eyes on the prize and don't overwhelm yourself if you don't have to.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Madison, we've got one for you as well. We have got Coffee Sympathizer. Apart from social, any other inbound tactics you recommend to drive buyers to Amazon?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, all of the topics that we discussed today were amazing. Blogs, I think that just using different tactics instead, not just social media alone, will definitely help increase your visibility on Google or any search engine. So I definitely recommend like a holistic view and just spreading your budget out as best as possible.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Back to Robin. We've got one here from Probel who says, we have a strong listing that has over, sorry, I do apologize. We have a strong listing that has over 6K product reviews. The top seller in the sphere has 30K reviews and sells over 30 times more than what we do. How can we increase sales volumes? We already run sponsored ads / brands.
So, it used to be the one with the most reviews probably had the most sales. That's no longer the case because not all reviews are weighted equally. And so when you're looking to I would compare the keywords, do a reverse ASIN search on your listing and their listing and see which listings, what keywords they're ranked in the top for that you're not. So if you're ranked number 1 for 5 keywords and they're kind of weak keywords, and they're ranked number 1 for 75 keywords, and some of those are really important keywords, then I would focus on keyword ranking campaigns. If you're beating them there, then I would say that they're doing some other ad spend. So I would look at margins, maybe look at how your ads are being done. Most, you contact an Amazon ad agency that will do audits. I think most of us do, have an audit product that we can have to have those looked at. But those would be kind of my recommendations. So it could also be like what Colby said. There's some external traffic. So run that, do that same thing. The traffic insight tool like Colby talked about on Sellzone, and then you could identify some of that as well.
And just to clarify, everybody here, no one on this call is paid by Sellzone, so this is just from our experiences and our stresses, how Sellzone have really helped us out in this as well. So hopefully you all can take advantage of that as well. Speaking of Kobe, hey Kobe, this is from Natalia, offering very good vibes. When doing the research, what is the easiest way to sort out the sources for the outreach? Maybe the traffic or the authority score or any other?
I like to, it's kind of a combination of traffic and authority score, just because, again, you want to make the most of your efforts, and you don't want to go after, the buzz feeds and put all your chips in that basket. You really want to look for, 1, a site that has a good ranking, and 2, a site that has good traffic that's likely to respond to your request to include your ASIN. So that's the way I like to look at it. How likely are they actually to respond to my email? And just by looking at their site and their content, you can, kind of gauge the likeliness of them to actually get back to you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And I'm really sorry, everyone, I'm having to quick fire. There's so much of these questions that I could add value to. I'm sure Madison could and Robin could as well, but it's just so, like I said, I promise we're going to get through this. I know we're already running late, but we've got questions and we're going to answer them. Madison, one for you. It's from Jerry. Do you have any advice on finding influencers linking to Amazon in Europe? I guess that in the US, it's very normal, affiliate Amazon listings, but not so much in Germany / the UK.
That's a really interesting question. I would definitely use a platform to find influencers. Reaching out via Instagram is a lot of time. So maybe finding influencers who are a little bit more professional. I think that, and come to you, you can just let them know that that's kind of your goal. And that way you're not spending a ton of time, reaching out to people who aren't used to doing that. So maybe finding that platform that's a little bit more, influencer focused and letting them know that that's something that you want to do up front.
Perfect. And if you have got any more specific questions for any of our speakers today, all of our social media profiles are in the chats as well. So please feel free to reach out to us directly. Like I say, feel free to reach out to me. I'm probably the most useless person on this call for you on that, but this is what we're here for as well. One back for Robin. This is from Leonard. He wants to know how is a keyword ranking campaign different from any other PPC campaign?
So usually it's more as far as the objective, right? So you will get that lift from your regular sponsored product campaigns, but this is a campaign where you're not specifically looking at for the measure of whether the campaign is successful or not based off the ROAS is over 5 or the ACoS is under 30. Instead, we're saying we're really focusing on, we might have we want to keep the ACoS or ROAS at a certain point, but we're really focusing on trying to make a change in that organic ranking. And then that's the really objective of that thing. So that will that's really what drives the bidding strategy versus just regular sponsored products, where if you're just managing for ACoS or ROAS, then you might cut off that campaign because it's starting to be more expensive. It's basically you're changing the objective to focus on that organic ranking position, and then once you receive that, then you can pull it back and you can put that campaign right back into an ROI performance campaign.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Another one for Kobe from Coffee Sympathy. So in an outreach email, should I mention that the competitors mention that they have my competitors link, or not really sure how to approach it if it's broken?
That's actually a really good question. Because in a lot of cases, there are going to be multiple competitors on that page. But if it's a single one, I wouldn't necessarily mention the competitor's links outright. Just say, I noticed that you're writing about this specific idea, and I think my product would be a good addition to your piece of content. You don't want to seem like I'm here to sabotage my competitor. Please, put me in instead of them. Leave it up to the editor if they want to do that, but give them the information that they need about your own product, how it can make their content better, and just be nice about it. But if it's a stock out situation or a broken link to where the product doesn't exist, then I would point it out and say, here's, something that's not working on your site. I want to make it better. Here's a link that does work. And hopefully they'll, plug and play and go for that.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Madison, I've got two for you. I've got one from Val and one from Kimberly. Val would like to know, what tools can you recommend for discovering insights about your target audience? And then Kimberly would like to know, how many influencers do you suggest a small, medium-sized business should hire per month?
So for the insights, I generally, look on Facebook. They have a lot of insights, or Instagram. I use a publishing software called eClincher, and they give me a ton of insights. I do weekly reporting and also monthly reporting to kind of see the trends. And I would also suggest, obviously other platforms for influencers, finding those insights before you, purchase or spend a lot of money doing that. And as for how many influencers per month, I would suggest, anywhere from 5 to 15 influencers a month to start. I think it's a great way to just create buzz around your brand. So the more you can, stretch that budget by doing more, product exchange / brand ambassadors, the better.
Amazing. And for those of you who can't see, my little boy and my dog have joined the conversation. I'm just trying to entice him over. If he could just come and say hi to everybody. This is RJ, the reason that I got out of Amazon selling, because someone else here has taken up all my time. Apologies, but I thought I can't really leave him just stood there because it's way past his bedtime and he wants to come say hi to everybody. Just on those notes as well, these two questions were specifically for Robin, but I think they can be quite useful to add to the entirety of the group. Coffee sympathizer, and these are the last two questions, I'm afraid, everybody. Which incentives would you think would work better in Q4 in the holidays for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or should I wait until these deals until the holidays? Open this one to anybody who wants to take a shot at it.
So I think it depends. So some of the windows for Black Friday have already been missed. So, if for lightning deals, I think I forget. I lose track of time. It's all this big blur since 2019. But so if sometimes for like Black Friday for like a lightning deal, it's going to be an expensive placement. So depending on what your budget is, if you have Roombas, then 100% you should do that lightning deal at that, because that's going to make a big difference for you. If you have something that maybe is not that, I would make sure at the minimum you have that clippable coupon. I think clippable coupons drive better from the SERP and from the ads. So I would recommend at least having those clippable coupons on there, and then looking at if you have kind of something that people need that deal in order to purchase, then potentially doing the lightning deals as the best from my experience. But I don't know what Colby and Madison have experienced.
I think this holiday season is going to be different than any other, just because of the supply chain. And so when we're looking at promotions and coupons, we got to look at our stock and, how long it's taken to, get the inventory in, how long it's sitting at the Amazon warehouse waiting to be checked in. And I think a lot of sellers are going to have to pick their poison when it comes to promotions. Do we want to stock out on Black Friday and then lose our rankings going into the Christmas season? or do we want to, slow it down and keep our rankings going into Christmas? It's going to be, a pick your poison situation for a lot of sellers. So yeah, just look at your stock levels before choosing those promotions or coupons this year, because I know a lot of people definitely are going to have this problem.
Madison, I know it's not really your expertise, but is there any sort of promotions that you would think in terms of running with the different influencers, etc.?
I think, yeah, I do like the idea of, having more seasonal content come out for sure. Absolutely.
Perfect. I'm sorry I distracted everybody. He is very, very, very cute. He has got all his mother's aspects and none of mine. So he is very shy. He then realized that he was in front of nearly 300 people. So he probably thought, actually, you know what? It's probably time for me to go to bed. Seems though I should have been in bed 20 minutes ago. Sidebar. Last question of the night. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with me. I appreciate we're running over, but this there's too much good stuff here and there's too much information not to go at today. So what do we think about misspellings within keywords? I've noticed misspellings of keywords sometimes have a higher search volume. Is it worth optimizing these keyword tools? Now, I'm just going to tell you an example from one of my friends. He sells cable ties. If you're watching, you know who you are. I'm not going to mention who you are. He spelt cable ties incorrectly on his advert and got the biggest order that he's ever had. He got 15,000 orders spelling cable ties wrong, and it's because he didn't realize he'd spelt cable ties wrong. So from my perspective, it's very much a must to take care of and think about, but I'm going to go hand over to my experts here.
I think that the misspellings can be important. If you're trying to, so if it's a receiver and it's I before E and the E before I, that's not going to give you a big lift because Amazon automatically corrects for that. Where it gets is like if you got really clever when you named your brand and you did receivers with like a Z, then Amazon's not going to know. So if it's a common misspelling, you don't need to optimize for that. If it's like if let's say you have entrepreneur in your title and some people spell it like with 7 U's, then yes, you should optimize for that because Amazon's not going to, it's so far off, Amazon's not going to have that. So look at kind of, you want to do kind of a look at search volumes to kind of help you identify that. And you can, that can kind of be a key place. But it's not something that we want to, it can be really important, but it should be like a supplemental piece, not the linchpin to your entire marketing strategy. I don't know. Colby, what do you think about that?
I'm going to give an example here. Dan, will you spell the word gray for me? I can't hear you.
Sorry, the baby was crying. I put myself on mute. I have fallen victim to 2021. Do we want me to share my screen as I'm spelling gray? What's
No, you can just spell gray for me.
Okay. So gray. I've got Greyhound, Grey Anatomy, Grey's Anatomy's cast. I'm starting to think I'm being
No, in the UK, how do you spell gray?
Oh, Grey.
Okay. If you look on Amazon, a lot of the times in their color spectrum, and when you're able to choose through the color, they spell it Gray. So that's what I've noticed is discrepancy between countries and how they spell different colors, different things. And a lot of times we assume that a lot of the users are going to search a certain thing because that's how we say it or we spell it or we do it. For example, sizes of mattress toppers, which we sell. We tend to use Cow King in our titles when a lot of the users, and especially Amazon, use California King as an example in their filtering process. The same with Twin XL. Amazon uses Twin Extra Large in the filtering option. So they're not misspellings; they're just spelled differently anywhere else. And the same goes for abbreviations. I like to look at that. Are there more searches for the abbreviated version or is it for the long tail keyword version? So you have to choose, do I spell it out or do I abbreviate? Yeah, that's just a good example. Gray versus gray.
You've made me rethink how I spell gray because I'm sure I do it with an A, but I spend a lot of time, and I'm part of an American company, so that I spend a lot of time looking at these different, one project that I'm working on at the moment, laser versus lasers. with the Z in the UK. It's amazing to see that even though the US is a much bigger market than the UK, lasers with an S is still substantially bigger over there than it is here. And these are things that just blow my mind with it. So hopefully that answers everyone's questions. I'm really, really sorry. We are all out of time today. Any questions that you've got, please feel free to direct them to us on our social media accounts. I'm already 15 minutes late. I'm possibly the worst moderator ever because I get distracted. I forget that I'm on mute. And then I forget how to share the screen without kicking myself out of the show as well. Thank you all so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone that's been watching today. Hopefully you've got some really interesting insights out of this. And please, let you know how you're getting on with them as well. Keep us updated. I nearly said text us. Who texts anymore, apart from when Facebook went down? Tweet us, LinkedIn us, drop us a message. Really keen to see how everyone's progressing on with their journey. What I'm just going to do now is just come back to our guests today, just to wrap up on any other ways that we can get in contact with them. Robin, if you'd just like to wrap up how people can get in contact with you.
So you can go to marketplaceblueprint.com, and if you go to, and if you add a /Facebook, it'll take you to a Facebook group where you can ask questions. Me and my team are in there. Just if you ask a question and I don't see it, just tag me in it. If you have other questions, you can do that. You can also get me on Twitter at AMZ Robin with a Y, like why does she talk so fast? AMZ Robin Johnson.
I definitely don't think you talk too quick. I've just sort of watched the playback of how I was speaking right at the start. I think you're okay. Kobe, how can we get hold of you?
I typically reply to LinkedIn. It's the best one for me after I filter out all the spam messages. But definitely nerd out on LinkedIn. You can find me Kobe Allman. Same with Twitter. Definitely reply there. But feel free to ask any questions. I'll reply.
I tend to, as a rule of thumb, anyone that has "we solve problems" in their Amazon in their titles, I tend to ignore those ones. I used to be the sales guy that said that, so unless it's a really engaging message, that's just to give you a heads up. And last but by no means least, Madison, how can we get hold of you?
LinkedIn works great. My name is Madison Brocklehurst, and also Kaspien. If you have any questions about what we do, or if you want some more insight onto how we can help your brand, you can go to Kaspien.com.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining with us today. I hope you have a good evening, good day, and a very good rest of your day, whether you're going to sleep or just heading out. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thanks, guys.